Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Hopeful Chewbacca back at the Church of Chewbacca, and this is the second episode of the 5-episode series of the No Money Spent top players in the game at various positions. I described the 5 categories that they're broken down in the first episode. I'll do them again. Starting pitchers, relief pitchers and catchers, middle infielders, corner infielders, and outfield. The reason these are grouped together is there's just so much overlap in secondary positions. I'm basing these rankings on the player's primary position. For instance, in this list, you will not see Carlos Santana, the team affinity, face of the franchise card for the Cleveland Indians. However, he can play catcher, and I think he could be a decent option at catcher as a no money spent, very cheap, easy to get player. But his primary is not a catcher, so you will not see him on this list. That being said, this list is the relief pitchers and catchers. There's not too many no money spent catchers, and there's not too many no money spent relief pitchers. There's some other suggestions I can give. If you guys are curious, I'll write them in the description of guys that you can spend a little bit of stubs on that aren't no money spent by doing maybe a collection or doing this or that are some other options. But this is going to be guys that are affordable that you can just play the game and grind for. Also, guys, please hit that subscribe button. That way we can continue to grow the community and I can keep producing these videos and the channel keeps getting viewed by more and more people to allow us to have a bigger community. Let's get into the list. Honorable mentions. The first of 2 honorable mentions is Dennis Eckersley. He's a closing pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, 1989 postseason card, 93 overall, only throws 3 pitches, a slider, a sinker, and a 4-seam fastball. And the way you get this is through the XP reward path. You unlock a silver starting pitcher, Dennis Eckersley. Then you have to do some moments, and I believe play the Oakland Athletics on All-Star, and then you can unlock the diamond closing pitching version of Dennis Eckersley. If anybody doesn't know too much about Eckersley, he's in the Hall of Fame. He was a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher throughout his career. This card actually plays very well, even though he doesn't throw the ball too hard, especially at higher difficulties, because his pitches do have a lot of movement. He kind of has a 3/4 sidearm release, so he's kind of hard to read off the pitcher's mound. We'll take a quick look at his attributes. 27 stamina, not surprising for a reliever. 105 hits per 9, 98 K per 9, 108 base on balls per 9, 71 home run per 9 with 111 pitching clutch with 96 accuracy. Honestly, I'm not sure why he's only rated in 93 overall. I feel like if you look at his 9s and everything, the card should probably be rated a little bit higher. However, he's a 93 overall, and his biggest downside is he doesn't throw the ball very hard. So if you're playing on lower difficulty or you get a guy that's a really good hitter on Legend, he's not going to blow him away. He doesn't have huge differential in his pitch speeds, so you really have to work his pitches in and out because he's more of a side-to-side pitcher. That's just kind of how they pitched back in the 80s, in the early 90s, is they were more side-to-side pitchers, not up and down like you see today with guys with super hard fastballs and they hit you low with the changeup. Take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are pressure cooker, stingy, untouchable, control artist, knee buckler. Obviously, the knee buckler is really going to help with his off-speed stuff, especially only throwing 3 pitches. The stingy helps, control artist. So it's just a very good card to bring in relief. I like to use him in the 7th or 8th inning. I don't really use him as like my primary closer. Or you can always bring him up in a mop-up role. But either way, he's a free card that's super easy to get. And I highly recommend grinding out to get his evolution card, which ends up being the 93 overall. Speaking of evolution cards, the next guy in the honorable mentions is Ivan Rodriguez. Now, this isn't really the best card per se at catcher. However, with the 91 overall, right-handed throwing, right-handed batting, he's a great defensive player at catcher, as well as he has pretty decent hitting stats. This is another card you unlock his silver in the XP rewards, and then you can evolve him into a diamond by doing some missions and playing the Texas Rangers on All-Star, I believe. So we'll look at his attributes. He has 83 contact versus righty, 84 contact versus lefty, 62 power versus righty, 76 power versus lefty with 92 vision. So actually has really good vision, can probably be used at the higher difficulties. He doesn't have a great amount of pop, but Ivan Rodriguez never had a tremendous amount of pop. The biggest knock I think on this card is a lot of people hate his swing. He's more of a push hitter, more of a guy that hits the ball backside. I liked his swing last year. I batted over 300 with him with his 99 Signature Series card. A lot of people struggled with him and did not enjoy using his card. Look at his fielding attributes. This is where the card really shines. He has 90 fielding, 94 arm strength, 80 arm accuracy, 75 reaction with 85 blocking, and he does have 69 speed at catcher, which is very good for a catcher. Take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are hitting machine, 20/20 vision, soft hands, vacuum, super important for blocking balls in the dirt. And you'll really notice with catchers, if they have bad blocking, they'll let a lot of balls pass them this year and not catch them cleanly, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of realistic, I guess. Cannon, sniper, and pressure cooker are his last 3 quirks. Overall, I think this card's pretty solid, especially if you're just looking for a free catcher. There's obviously some better options that we'll go over in the near future here, in the next couple minutes. But I think for a free card, if you're looking for a catcher and you're a big Pudge fan, I don't think it's that bad of a card. Guys, it's going to end the honorable mentions. Let's get into the real list, the top 5. At number 5. At the start of the list, at number 5, we have the 85 overall relief pitcher, Amir Garrett. This card was put in the game because Amir Garrett won the MLB The Show Player Tournament. This was before they had the Players League that was all over ESPN and Twitch. This was actually, they had a 4-man tournament that had Hunter Pence, Amir Garrett, Blake Snell, and I cannot remember the 4th person that was in the tournament. This card is essentially the poor man's Aroldis Chapman. He has about the same pitches that Chapman does. However, he throws a little bit slower. I think Chapman's only like 20K in the market, so he's actually not an unreasonable price for a good left-handed reliever. However, this Amir Garrett is free. The moments to get him are very, very easy and quick. I think it takes you probably less than an hour. He only throws 3 pitches, a slider, 2-seam fastball, and 4-seam fastball. So really, he only throws 2 pitches, a fastball, and a slider. So you kind of just have to mix them. You can never really use them for more than an inning or so. I would say that Eckersley might be a better option than Amir Garrett. However, you might go a different route with the evolution card. So you might not even have had a chance to really get Eckersley right now, or you might want to go the other route of some of the other evolution cards that you can get instead of Eckersley. So with that, this is a good relief pitcher for super cheap. He's definitely a guy that should be in your bullpen, unless your bullpen's absolutely stacked with guys that would obviously be paid for players. He has 30 stamina in his attributes with 96 hits per 9, 107K per 9. He's a little bit wild with 52 base on balls per 9 and 61 control. Only 65 home runs per 9, but that's okay because he does have 101 pitching clutch. The home runs per 9 are a little bit low for me, but they're not that bad. He does have great velo and break, as you can see, which really makes his slider super effective as his primary pitch. Take a quick look at his quirks. He has pressure cooker, stingy, untouchable, and knee buckler. So he doesn't have the best quirks, but they're good enough for a guy that would be pretty much used in the 6th or 7th inning of your bullpen. He's not going to be your closer. He's not going to be the guy that shuts down games, but he's definitely a guy that can come in relief and get a few outs when you need him, especially against lefties. Guys, Amir Garrett's number 5. Let's move on and see who we got at number 4. At number 4. The 4th spot, we have the first catcher in the top 5, Gary Sanchez, 87 overall. This was the Player of the Month card for June 2017. He recorded a 2 multi-homer games in June, a 307 average with 9 home runs and 27 RBIs. That's what got him to get this card. What this card is early on, I'd super recommend taking him. I think it's in the level bronze 40 XP pack. It might be a little bit later XP-wise, but I believe it's 40. And this card absolutely mashes with 101 power versus righty and 102 power versus lefty. He does struggle a little bit with the contact against lefties, only 41, but does have 90 contact versus righties. The 50 vision's a little bit of a downside, but if you're looking for no money spent players and you make contact with this Gary Sanchez, there's a good chance that the ball's going to go a far away, as well as he has a tremendously glitchy, super duper swing. It seems like he just lifts balls in the air, and balls that normally wouldn't go out for other guys go out for him. He does have 78 discipline and 84 clutch. Not too bad, but not the best. For his fielding, this card isn't the best, but it's not that bad. It's only a silver, 72 fielding, 80 arm strength, 70 arm accuracy, 60 reaction with 70 blocking, only 49 speed, so not the fastest catching option, but he is a very, very good option. I mean, he hits the ball tremendously. He has a lot of power compared to other catchers. We'll take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are just bomber. He just hits dingers. He doesn't have any other quirks. So it's a little lackluster there. But catcher's a little bit thin this year. So number 4 for Gary Sanchez isn't a spot when it comes to relief pitchers and catchers on this top 5. At number 3, taking the third spot is the 2017 postseason Charlie Morton relief pitcher. Now everyone knows Charlie Morton as a starting pitcher that pitches for the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, this was a year and a half about removed from the Pirates, giving him away for free to the Houston Astros, and he came into the Game 7 of the World Series and closed it out over 4 innings of relief with only giving up 2 hits against the Dodgers. Now, as much as everyone wants to knock the Houston Astros for cheating in 2017 for hitting, if people really go look at the World Series, their pitchers were lights out, and I don't think you can bang a trash can to confuse the hitter about trying to hit the ball against them. And Charlie Morton was a big part of that in that World Series, and a big part of the reason they won. He was absolutely lights out, whether he was starting or coming in relief. Actually, the whole playoff run and most of the season. This is really where Charlie Morton made his money. As you can see, a little bit later in his career, age 33, he has a 2-seam fastball, a nut curve, a 4-seam fastball, a cutter, and a splitter. So he has a great pitch repertoire that literally can be used against almost anybody. It's a big arsenal. I really like throwing his 4-seam fastball. It has a lot of good movement on it for a 4-seamer, and he throws it about 100 miles an hour. His 2-seam fastball also has a lot of good sideways movement. His nut curve has a nice big break on it. He throws the splitter. I really like this card coming in relief. And what's nice about this card is if your starting pitcher gets lit up, this guy has 74 stamina. So he can be for sure your long reliever. And that's really what I use him in. Sometimes I use him in like the 6th or 7th inning if I need to get 2 good innings because my pitcher just got gassed because I couldn't find the strike zone or he was just getting lit up. He has 89 hits per 9, 90 K per 9, 75 base on balls per 9, 77 home run per 9, 100 pitch and clutch, very important for a reliever, 68 control, so he can be a little bit wild if you don't get him going, 92 velocity and 89 break. Take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are pressure cooker, untouchable, cheesy, and sinker baller. I mean, honestly, this card is everything you want in a relief pitcher. He does come with a windup. He's not from the stretch, just so you guys know. And he has a very easy motion to throw with. I think you guys will really enjoy this card. I believe he comes in the same pack as the Gary Sanchez does. And Gary Sanchez and Charlie Morton are the 2 guys that I would take first in that pack, probably after looking back on it. I know I've done a review on it. You can go look at the review a little bit more in depth at the time whenever you're going through the XP rewards. Those videos really should help you, especially with some of this no money spent and who to pick when, depending on what your team is and how the team needs to be built. At number 2. The number 2 spot belongs to none other than the MVP of the 2012 National League, Buster Posey. He's obviously a catcher. He plays for the San Francisco Giants. Has played for them his whole career. He's 99 overall on this card. He's right-handed throwing, right-handed batting with a secondary of first base. So looking at his attributes, it's really what sets his card apart. I mean, he's a 99 overall. He's going to have good attributes. But what got him sitting at number 2, and it's really a far move from 3 to 2 in this list, he's up there. 103 contact versus righty, 125 max contact versus lefty, 73 power versus righty, 112 power versus lefty, 93 vision, 95 discipline, 120 clutch. His defense is just as good as his offense, 89 fielding, 82 arm strength, 84 arm accuracy, 80 reaction, 95 blocking with 40 speed. So pretty much his biggest downside is not that fast. He does obviously absolutely mash left-handed pitching, and he's not as good against right-handed pitching. For me, he's a very good card. I don't like his swing that much compared to some other people at catcher. Like, I think Gary Sanchez is a way better swing than Buster Posey, if I'm being honest. There are some other options at catcher that we'll go over at the very end of the video that are not no money spent, that you could use at catcher that are good options, and I'll just go over them real quick and list them. But Buster Posey is the best no money spent catcher in this game, hands down. It's not even close. I mean, you can try to argue in the comments if you want, but for no money spent, nobody comes close to touching Buster Posey at catcher. Now that we've established that he's the best catcher that's no money spent, let's go take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are hitting machine, 20/20 vision, walker, vacuum, sniper, pressure cooker, and unbreakable. So he has hitting machine, which means he'll get a lot of base hits. Eventually, if you get the prestige level, he does get a prestige card that you can unlock. And for that, he does actually get bomber, which is really nice for the card. He has 20/20 vision, walker, I like those. This makes it harder to strike out. The vacuum, super important, like I said, for catchers. And the sniper, obviously an accurate throwing arm whenever you're trying to throw down a second base when guys are stealing on you is important as well. Guys, Buster Posey, best no money spent catcher in the game, number 2 on the list. At number 1. At the top of the list is a 96 overall Rollie Fingers that won the 1981 Cy Young when he was with the Milwaukee Brewers. He throws 4 pitches, a sinker, a slider, a forkball, and a 4-seam fastball. He's right-handed throwing. Big, tall, lanky body at 6'4", 195 pounds. I mean, you're really going to pound his sinker and then work in the slider and forkball. I don't throw his 4-seam fastball that much, but it can be effective if you get it up and in on people because it does go a little bit faster than the sinker and has a different movement. He has 38 stamina, which is actually pretty high for a closing pitcher, which is nice. He has 107 hits per 9, 111 K per 9, 96 base on balls per 9, 99 home run per 9, 125 pitching clutch, which is the highest in the game you can have, 94 control, 86 velo, 91 break. So he comes in at number 1 on this list, and if this was a relief pitchers list, obviously it'd be number 1. Now, unfortunately for Buster Posey, this is relief pitchers and catchers because relief pitchers and catchers are just a little scarce compared to the other positions that are in these top lists. Rollie Fingers is absolutely amazing, although you'll probably only unlock him 3rd behind the Newhouser and Kluber because you can also use those guys out of the bullpen, and they're just better than Fingers is. But once you unlock Fingers, it gives you a stud to close out games, absolutely filthy, and I highly recommend using him often, like as often as you can. Whenever you can throw him in there, maybe you just need to get a couple outs, or maybe you need to get an extra out in an inning and he has low stamina, and you're like, man, the bases are loaded, I really need to bring in like my best relief pitcher. Rollie Fingers is probably that guy. You can just look at his attributes, they're absolutely amazing. Take a quick look at his quirks just to see how they match up with his attributes. He has pressure cooker, stingy, untouchable, control artist, grounded, sinker baller, Mr. Splitty. That Mr. Splitty really makes his forkball absolutely filthy. And obviously he's a sinker baller, so throw that sinker all over the strike zone, make your opponent swing and miss or ground the ball out. That's what you like to see when you get a good sinker baller as well. Working that sinker ball and that forkball, dude, it's ridiculous. Just that's how you got to work him as a pitcher. So that's the top 5 list for relief pitchers and catchers. I did say whenever we're going over Buster Posey that I go over 2 guys that you can put at catcher that's their secondary positions that you might want to look into. One is heavily money spent. Craig Biggio's primary is second base. He's the American League Live Series Player Collection Reward. That card is probably the best catcher in the game, if I have to be honest. He has very well-rounded attributes. You can go look at the card, and he's super fast at 90 speed at catcher. Absolutely ridiculous. Another option could be that's a no money spent option, but his primary is first base would be the Carlos Santana face of the franchise card. I know I mentioned him at the beginning of the video as well, I believe. And he is a switch hitting guy. He's just not the best at catcher defensively, but he is another no money spent guy, especially if you want other options than Buster Posey and you wanted to get a pretty good catcher. I think he's a better option than Gary Sanchez, but he is a primary first baseman, so he does not qualify for the list. That is the face of the franchise, Cleveland Indians, Carlos Santana. You need 50 fans in the Cleveland Indians to unlock him in the team affinities. Guys, that is the conclusion of this video. So how about you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up so I know I'm doing a good job. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload more videos. If you are enjoying the content and you want to watch me live, you can always catch me on twitch.tv/HopefulChewbacca, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I do not have a set schedule. You'll have to follow me on Twitter at Hopeful1137. I'll tweet out when I'm about to go live. Also, guys, if you want to play a friendly, you have any questions, other than leaving comments in the video below so I can answer them, you can also add me on PSN at Hopeful1137. I'm always down to play a friendly or help people out as much as I can. That's really the point of building this community, is to help you guys out. So with that being said, you guys have a great day and be safe.